The HOA argument turned serious the day unfair fines began landing in mailboxes without warning. What started as quiet frustration quickly grew into open anger among residents, who felt targeted rather than governed. The community had always followed rules loosely, relying on mutual respect more than strict enforcement. That balance shattered when the HOA board suddenly imposed hefty fines for minor issues: trash bins left out too long, balconies with mismatched curtains, and cars parked a few inches outside invisible boundaries. For many residents, the fines felt selective. Some homes were repeatedly penalized, while others with similar violations were ignored. Whispers of favoritism spread through hallways and courtyards. Families struggling with rising costs felt the pressure most, as fines piled on top of maintenance fees. One resident received 3 fines in a single month, totaling more than a week's salary. When questions were raised, the board responded with cold emails citing community standards. Without explanation, the tension finally boiled over during a monthly HOA meeting. What was expected to be a routine discussion turned into a heated confrontation. Residents demanded clarity, fairness, and proof. They asked why warnings were skipped and why fines appeared without notice. Board members struggled to answer, flipping through documents and repeating policy language that no one remembered approving. Voices grew louder as frustration turned into accusation. One homeowner stood up and shared how the fines had affected their family, cutting into grocery, money, and school expenses. Another revealed evidence showing similar violations by board members that had gone unpunished. The room fell silent. The issue was no longer about rules. It was about trust. Residents felt the HOA had forgotten its purpose and instead become a source of fear and control. The argument escalated when a board member suggested unpaid fines could lead to legal action. That threat changed everything. Neighbors who had once greeted each other warmly now stood united against what they saw as abuse of power. Calls for an audit, policy review, and board resignation echoed through the room. By the end of the meeting, nothing was resolved, but something had clearly shifted. The community realized that silence had allowed unfair practices to grow. The argument over fines exposed deeper cracks: lack of transparency, poor communication, and unequal enforcement. What began as numbers on paper became a serious conflict about fairness, dignity, and the right to be treated equally within one's own home. The HOA would never feel the same again.